Why do they make tampons with different flow absorbencies? Why aren't they all just as absorbent as possible? During my period I literally use a Supreme, Ultra, Regular and Light. Period flow changes and can be super heavy or light. I wouldn't use an Ultra on a light day cause if it's not saturated enough, and I remove it it's painful cause it's more dry to pull out. It's like sex almost. No lube and going in or out dry hurts. The sizes of tampons at insertion aren't like hugely different from the ones I've used. It expands more when inserted inside. They all usually have an applicator. Also fun fact, most days I have an Ultra tampon and a pad because it's hell lol. A really big tampon that's still pretty dry is not going to feel good coming out. It's a sensitive area. The thought of pulling out a dry, not fully saturated tampon is making me clench my teeth. Worst feeling ever. It's really cool seeing cis men going out of their way to learn about things like this. I'm proud of you OP, and I can guarantee the women in your life are more comfortable with you because you have this attitude. Not specifically because you know how a tampon works, but because you aren't treating it like some unspeakably gross phenomenon. Kudos to you. Removal for sure, but toxic shock is the main reason. Every box has warnings about this. It is rare but can lead to death. And women are different. Some are good with a few regular while some of us went through 48 Super Plus in 3 days. Also, it is not about absolute concept of absorbency. It is more about size. They are all made of same cotton wool with limited holding capacity, so usually more absorbent are also bigger, which can be uncomfortable especially for people who are small and tense inside. On the other hand, if you have more space here or loose pelvic floor muscles, small tampon can slip out, especially when fully soaked, which is both painful and gross. Different absorbencies match flow levels. More absorbent ones can be bulkier. People have already explained things pretty well, so I just wanted to lick that you aren't an idiot for not knowing this fact about tampons. I'm a trans guy, but back when I was dealing with periods, I had been using tampons for almost 3 years before I learned about the lower absorbency thing. I followed your logic of highest absorbencies best and just thought the discomfort was one of those things you deal with. So like, people with vaginas who use tampons make this mistake all the time. It's not embarrassing. Plus now you know. We're all shaped different. Really absorbent ones are bigger and can vary uncomfortable depending on your body size shape. If you don't need that headache because you have a light flow, it's nice to have a small option. On the flip side, a small, low absorbent one isn't going to help the poor girl who's damn near bleeding out today. What a great question for this sub. I'm glad you asked instead of just pretending things like tampons don't exist. The more absorbent they are, the bigger they have to be. The bigger they are, the more uncomfortable they are to pull out. That's why you use only what you need, so they don't tear your insides out when you try to remove them. Comfort is one reason, but so is toxic shock syndrome. Tampons used to be super duper absorbent, as in, only needing one for the whole day or longer. But the problem with that was that the longer it was in, the higher the risk of infection and TSS. This is why tampons are standardized by absorbency, and why the packaging information includes the risk of TSS and warns you not to leave it in longer than 8 hours. You can find more information here. https://n.wikipedia.org Wiki toxic shock syndrome prov equals SFTI1. So it's not like tampons are all the same size with different absorbencies. For a tampon to absorb more, it has to be bigger. It can be pretty uncomfortable to put a huge tampon in if you are only bleeding a little bit, especially when taking it out, because it's dry and honestly is super uncomfortable to have dry cotton scraping your insides. There's also more risk for toxic shock syndrome if you leave tampons in for too long, so it's not like you can get a big one and just leave it in for a super long time until it fills up. You need to be frequently changing your tampon and also give your body little breaks without them during your period. Don't want to absorb the natural moisture and get it stuck in there. Uncomfortable size. Flow varies a lot. If you put a max absorbency 1 on a low day, it feels like it dries you out too much and it's uncomfortable. There needs to be some moisture on vaginal walls. I'm a cis woman who gets her period every month. I just don't use tampons, and I also had this question, so don't feel dumb. Glad we both know the answer. I use a size up once and it almost got stuck in me. BC it was too dry and too expanded for me. Removing a dry tampon hurts so badly. Thanks for asking this. It was something I didn't realize I was 100% sure of. I had a feeling it was the reasons given, but always good to get it confirmed. Haven't seen this answer yet. Because big tampons make me feel like I have to poop the entirety of while I am using it.